Alright, welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience, Target Individual Programming. Yeah, fuck you, New York Police Department, using the sirens. So what did I show you guys? Usually when I'm leaving, I have to put on my shoes, and I usually sit in the kitchen to sit down to put on my shoes because I can't really bend down to do it. And so you see on the floor, the yellow socks placed there. Might have been, suspect my niece to do it. Talk about how to use family members. And so I recorded it, and then afterwards they activated my grandnephew to, as I'm leaving, comes out of the bedroom, and and I'm like, when I recognize that, I said, go back in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what they do. They activate the pinky finger sticking. I got my pinky finger sticking. Oh yeah. So yeah, the sirens in the background. So I talk about how they will move from, targeting me within the house to targeting me within the society. So there isn't any place you as a TI can go that you can have any sort of peace of mind, because they're constantly manipulating people. They're constantly being hit with radio wave and microwave frequency weapons for mind control. And there are times when I come in the house and they will hijack his consciousness, and he will run towards me, grab his his, and then turn around and runs the other way, right? And I'm just like, wow, man, the shit that they do and how they do it. But like I said, I'm going to expose them. I am going to expose them. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter who. It could be my other grandnephew. He's like, what, 24? They do the same thing with him, right? My sister, they will activate her in the middle of the night. If I go use the bathroom, she would get up. Literally, sometimes, I remember one time I got up to use the bathroom and she was sitting right there. And I'm on the toilet and she opens the door and it's like, and I said hi to her too. I said good morning, right? Because I think it was maybe like about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark outside, right? Still considered night. But and I'm like, I had to shake my head, because it's like, how you not. But then, like I said, I begin to understand how their minds are being controlled, right? I posted a declassified document, part of a declassified document, on my Facebook backup page, and my Facebook backup account, and talks about, again, the weaponization, the use of psychological weapons, right? Microwave and radio wave frequency weapons to manipulate the human mind. Like I said, they've been able to do this for decades. They've been able to program us in ways that we don't understand. And so when I expose their ass, look. What happened? No ticket? You gets to park on the sidewalk? Wow, man. I know it's time. I know, you got to clean the streets, but come on, brother, sister, whoever the hell you are. Anyway, so these people, they're always trying to cause conflict because, again, they are afraid. They don't want leaders. I said leaders, they use the sirens in the background. They don't want leaders, particularly black leaders. And if you love yourself and you love black people, to want to do something good for black people, then they're not going to allow it, right? That's why we have this self-centered, selfish mindset. And we don't understand where it comes from, so we call each other selfish and, self-centered, but it's our conditioning, it's our programming. Anytime you can cause division within a people, right, particularly when the dominant society group basically is racist in all areas, right? So they engage in these sort of manipulative, deceptive, right, lies, indoctrination, brainwashing against those within the society, particularly against black people. Like you're saying, they want us to become docile. KFM 3259. Right? They want us to become docile, right? And so that they can continue even more to be blatantly racist. Oh, wheelchair team. I keep telling you guys, they're gonna always use new people, right? They're gonna always use new people for what it is that they do and how they do it, right? But anyhow, and you guys can see, they always find new sets of people. And again, I always know remember I'm a TI, so nothing happens around me that's coincidental. Always remember that. And fuck you too. Nothing happens around me that is coincidental. He takes the mango out of his bag and sticks his middle finger out at me as he walks past me. Right? So yeah. But like I said, we're seeing part of that, their agenda takes place. But why are black people not really talking about this, right? We walk around here because, again, we have an indoctrinated brain, right? So there's a book called The Indoctrinated Mind. And if you get a chance, go get it. You get the audio book or get the Kindle or get the hard copy. But there are certain authors and scientists, historians, that are telling you what is going on. Right? They're literally telling you what's going on. But we want to be believers and continue to be believers. Right? We want to be boo-boo the clowns and continue to be boo-boo the clowns. And even when I say that, I still say it with the understanding that I know that we are being made that way. And for our people, our future generations doesn't matter. Right? Our future legacy does not matter. Right? And that's the sad part, because we are throwing our children and their future children and generations of our people, into a world in which they will be more abused than we are today. And you see, black people don't believe that they're abused. You know what I'm saying? Black people today really don't believe that they're abused. Like I said, you look at some of these samples who have been allowed to move up the societal ladder economically, that is. No power, right? Just the power to buy things. And that goes for me too, right? I mean, I'm not up the economic ladder, but we all buy shit. You know what I'm saying? Because as Dr. Claude Anderson said, that they have made us a consumer class, right? Listen, every class of people consume things, right? They buy things. But our people, particularly those who are working class and the poor, they consume and buy items that really they have no business consuming or buying. Luxury handbag, some of our women will take out loans just to, look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit, right? Look at this shit. Why? Because you want me to be last? I keep telling you all, the last man standing. Right? You're telling them the last man standing. You know what I'm saying? No, thank you, my brother. But go ahead, man. I'm good. Go ahead. Go ahead. You sure? You're good. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Yes, my brother. Yes, my brother. How you doing, man?
You are the best.
We're good, man. Nah, you're the best, man. I appreciate you, man. Listen, I appreciate you, okay?
Yeah, you're the best, man. You're the best.
Oh, here you go.
What's going on, yeah?
All right, my brother. You know it. We do it, man.
Yeah, my brother.
We just try to do the best.
Let me be alone. Let me drive.
All right. Yeah, bro, man. You are the best, man. We need people like you.
Let me tell you, man. You know, yesterday I was talking to a young brother. And I said, bro, I told him, I said, my young king, pull your pants up, man. You know, it's like sometimes we gotta correct our young people. You know, you look ridiculous, but you know, you're not trying to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I don't like? I dislike. Yo, my nigga. Why? Yo, my
Listen,
nigga. That's the conversation that they got.
there's a group of brothers that were incarcerated and they earned their PhDs, right?
Right.
And they did a study and they wrote an article, and it talks about how black prisoners in prison, that they are experimented on, psychological experimentation. And when you look at how these the pants sagging comes out of the prison industry, it is because they're conditioned, right? And then they're conditioned and they do it within the society, right? So, you know, and of course they always try to make excuses, right? Well, you know, in slavery, black people pants were sagging. That's because they had no belt. They had whatever little bit of clothes they had. But after slavery, go look at the pictures. I tell them all the time. Listen, the young brothers where I live, I tell them, I say, go look at the pictures, man. I can show you. Black people never wear their pants sagging, aside, you know, other than when they had no choice. You know what I'm saying? But this whole thing came about in the mid '90s, right? To the mid '90s, going into the 2000s, you start to see brothers coming out of prison wearing their pants sagging, right? Because in prison, if you know the homosexuals in prison, if they want to have sex, they pull their pants down and walk around with their pants sagging. You see, we are clueless to the psychological agenda of white supremacy and white people against our people, right? That they create black people toxic culture. What we think we create, we call it black culture. That's not black culture. You know what I'm saying? That's white indoctrination, white brainwashing, white supremacy brainwashing of our people.
You know, that's the name they wanted.
Yeah. You know, so this article, literally, these brothers earned their PhD, they did the research, and they wrote it. And guess what? They censored it. You know what I'm saying? They censored it. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that they censor that you and I should be reading, but we can't read it because they censor these things.
What they know, they don't want you to know that they're crook.
Correct.
You know, they gotta censor it.
Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? They censor these things, and how they manipulate us using radio wave and microwave frequency, right?
We know what goes on.
You know, we're not as
just what they want us to know. That's it.
You know, Garvey, what did Garvey say? Garvey said that black people need to get back to the mind of science, right? That's what Garvey said. In the 1920s, Garvey said that black people need to get back to how we once were, right? So how did Garvey know that black people were highly scientific?
Those guys that they had a lot.
And now today we are the least scientific people, right? They got other groups of people, particularly white people, who use science against us.
He knew, man.
Garvey knew.
He knew.
And you want to know how he knew? Because Garvey studied. Garvey saw the documents. Garvey traveled. You know, they have their, people don't really understand. You know, when you watch it, they talk about how they build the pyramids. They always say it's aliens, right? But in Germany, in the museum in Germany, they have what is called the Rhine Papyrus, and the Rhine Papyrus shows you, right, how they build the pyramids, that they paid their workers. Okay, so you know the biblical story of Genesis. You know, it never the Exodus. The Exodus. It never existed. They know that. Scholars know that. Jewish scholars know that. European scholars, theologians know that it never existed. Right?
My question: why did the Jewish
Yeah, because again, listen, black people. We have to understand how important we are as a people. Right? Just pause this. You see, the reason why they get us to hate ourselves and hate each other, because they don't want us to be the people that they know we are. You understand?
I understand that. I know who I am.
No. When I'm not saying.
No. What I'm saying, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
That's the reason they want us to treat ourselves the way. we have too much power. People know we have.
We don't have. We no longer have the power that we used to have because we are conditioned, we are brainwashed, right? We don't know anything about science, right? You see this phone I have in my hands, right? This phone is a technological wonder. You want to know what they can do with this phone? They can track you. They can use the radio frequency in there to map out your entire house, right? They can also use the radio frequency to affect your emotions. Okay? Why do you think they tell you that children should not have cell phones, but our people give our children cell phones? Right? Alright? So, yeah. So we see
words.
I try to tell people, but what happened is that we become lazy parents, right? We don't want to take the time to spend quality time with our children. So we, just like when we were growing up, the television was our teacher. Today kids have cell phones and tablets, right?
Right.
Now here's the thing, like I said, a tablet is fine if it doesn't have a radio frequency transmitter receiver. Your phone, every phone has a radio frequency transmitter receiver. Right? And they'll tell you, scientists tell you that children under the age of 12 years old should not have a cell phone. What they are doing is ruining their children's cognitive ability, the ability to learn, the ability for their emotions. That's why when you take away their phones, they get highly agitated and upset because these things entrain our children's brain. Right? So, I have kids, right? None of my kids had a cell phone before they were 12. You understand?
Yes.
Because again, we don't do any sort of research, any sort of reading that's important for us. I talk about the studies done in the 1970s. It's called the biological effect of radio wave or microwave frequency on the human body. And the things in there. In the military, people who work around radar, in television stations, people who work in television stations, they have a high rate of cancer, tumor, psychological illness. Why? Because the radio frequency. We tend to not understand that our bodies are electrical. Electricity runs through our body, right? You know what I'm saying? Every time we touch something, we eat, we taste, we smell, we have a thought. That's an electrical signal that is activated within the neuron. You understand? So what they have done is they have studied these things. They've identified every signal in our brain because their goal is to control us as human beings. You see what's happening now, right? You see with this racist president and this racist administration, right? But look at our people. Look at that. There's no urgency. There is no no critical thinking. There is no coming together in unity. There is no let's build together regardless of and the churches are the number one ops, right? When I say ops, meaning that the pastors in the church have been conditioned to take from our people and not give anything back.
Paying attention to listening, but yes,
Yeah.
I have to.
That's fine. Right? So again, and what do they do within our community? It's to destroy the leaders. I keep saying, they play chess, we play checkers. All right? So what happened in chess? When you take away the kings and the queens, you take away the knights and the bishops, right? The two pieces left are the rooks and the pawns. So remember, actually, the rooks are your entertainers, they're your pastors, they're your politicians, the black politicians, and they manipulate them to control the pawns. So we as black people, majority of us, we are pawns with no kings, no queens, no bishops, and no knights. The knights to protect, right? The bishop to give you knowledge, and the king and queen are rulers, right? So when you look at chess, the game of chess, that's what they play against us. You understand? So we, yeah, man, no problem, man.
always you gotta get on so
Right.
soon.
So we gotta educate. Listen, we gotta educate the pawns so that they become kings and queens. All right, man. Take care. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh yeah. So you see, as I was talking, right? Again, I'm glad this happens because I show you guys how they run psychological warfare and how they put certain thoughts in my mind, right? So yesterday I was talking about the predator departments. Keep telling you, the predators will always show themselves, right? The predators will always show themselves. So what I just showed you guys is a test based on lies, deception, and manipulation. So I was talking to the bus driver, right? And this again, they do this to try to shut me up. When I talk about them placing thoughts into my mind when I have a conversation and they'll show up, then they'll try to say, oh, well, see, he talked about this, look, the correction van show up, right? Again, that is technology, that is manipulation, that is psychological indoctrination, brainwashing, right? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they do this all the time, every once in a while. It's like they try to put you to test, and nigger peers will believe it because they tell them, oh look, he's going to talk about this and that, and this is going to happen. Listen, man, you got to understand how they manipulate us. You got to understand how they use technology. You got to understand how they'll put you through these tests. Go look at the test factor in psychological operations, particularly when they're using radio wave or microwave frequency to put things into your head to get you to talk about certain things so that they will show up afterwards. Like I keep saying, you know, to make them say, oh, look, we're right. No, you're not. Why don't you tell them about the microchip? Why don't you tell them how you can manipulate me to talk about certain things at certain times? Right? They're not going to tell you that. Right? They're not going to tell you that. Okay? So yeah, they think that they're slick. Right? Again, and the reason why they do it psychologically is because they can get away with it. They can say, oh look, he's crazy. Right? They can say, oh look, she's crazy. So the TIs don't get to tell their experience, right? What they've done to them. It is always going to be one-sided. And I posted today of these cops who assaulted a man, right? The guy was sitting at the bar, and the person upstairs fired a gun, shot himself. The bullet went through the ceiling, hit one of the person at the bar. His friends take him to the hospital. The guy who shot the gun went to another hospital, right? They had the guy that shot the gun, but yet they still arrested a man who brought his friend to the hospital. And I'm like, how the hell did they make that distinction that he shot his friend, right? So the video's on my YouTube backup account, right? And you will see exactly what I'm talking about, how they will lie, they will manipulate, they will deceive. Then I posted another video of a prosecutor, right, who was using and manipulating people in jail. And again, that's the reason why they use that, because they know that I'm going to talk about this, because the videos I've been watching, I keep saying, the surveillance, they try to get away with it based on surveillance, right? They surveil you. It's just like mentalists, right? A mentalist can do things to you that you wouldn't even know about. Yeah, man. Driver, wheelchair.
Everybody got to get on the bus then.
It don't make no sense to let you get on first, because
I didn't get here,
if
I
they
didn't
pack
get
up
here,
if they
yeah.
pack up the bus, what are they going to do? Exactly.
I didn't get here.
You know what I'm saying?
Wait for what next bus.
Look. No, don't wait for the next bus. Let them. No, let them come off. Let them come off.
Get on the bus.
No. Let them come off. Let them come off.
You gotta make
If they go, let them
them
go all the way, or let them come off. You don't gotta wait for another
I
bus.
don't have to wait for no bus.
Okay? But these people, they're ridiculous. They should have let you go first. That's what they should have done.
Bus can't move unless I get on. That's a problem.
See, look. Now what? You know what I'm saying? Now what? Now they got to squeeze themselves all the way to the back like damn sardines.
They can't move.
Guys, gotta step all the way in. I got priority over here. Please, thank you. All the way in. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, they use surveillance. You're welcome, man. Again, well, you see what I'm saying? They should have let you go first. Then that way you're the situation they can go in. But no, look at them. Now the bus is all packed up. They're all rushing in before you.
And they're gonna want to make noise.
Because they don't think. That's our people. We don't think.
And they didn't want to make noise.
We just operate on subconscious programming. That's all that is. Look at that. And they refuse. You gotta tell them come out.
Then they want to cuss.
Yep.
Carry on.
Yep, the conflict issue. Holy shit, man. Let me tell you. So like I was saying, don't be manipulated by these people, right? They're lying. They use surveillance to surveil you. And the fact that I'm microchip, they can manipulate me in any way, right? But I'll tell you what, because I know I'm microchip, because I've been studying what it is they do, there are certain things they cannot do to manipulate me. Shit like that, yeah, you know, they can place it in my mind or talk about this. All right, talk about that. You know, again, based off of surveillance, based off of illegal surveillance, based off of technology being used, weaponized technology being used, based off of doing what? Putting things in my mind, all right, or using coercive persuasion to manipulate me. Okay? Stop falling for that shit. Like I said, there's always that test factor, and they do this every single time. They do this every single time. Why they do it? Why they? I'm gonna tell you the reason why they do it. Because why they do it? Because I'm not afraid of them. Why they do it? Because they're covering their ass. That's why they do it. And I talk about it. When these criminals in positions of authority want to get away with crimes they commit, this is what they do. But not with me. It's not gonna happen. Look at this shit. Tell you. My people. Gotta think, man. Not being manipulated by these lies. I'll talk about these people when they engage in their crime. They already know that. You and I know. But what we can't do is expose them to what they've done to us. Because it's through our programming and through their cognitive warfare, and your cognitive warfare is the reason why the outcome is going to be what they want it to be. Okay? That's what happens when you have real power. So black people, we don't have power. At least not the type of power that they have. Power to manipulate, deceive, to lie, to use technology in ways to abuse people. Right? So they can create whatever agenda they want to create. See how they lie about going to war. See how they lie about, they'll ignore the fact that the UN says that, Iran have no nuclear weapons. They're not trying to get nuclear weapons. And they will lie, and they will go to war. Because they have the power to do so, they do it. We just have the power to believe. That's why we believe every damn thing. Those of us who try to expose it and tell you all the truth. Malcolm said that have you loving the people that oppress you and hating the people that try to free you. Yeah, that shit don't work. videos.